can kind of tell where the backflow is going to go. And by doing that, you can figure out what the signs and symptoms are going to look like, right? So first thing I want you to do is I want you to draw a heart. A heart! Look at that. We're going to make our own mnemonic. Okay. So, first things first, split it up into 4, just like so. All right, so what do we got? We got a right atrium. We have a left atrium. This is our septum, right? We have a right ventricle. Probably not spelling that right, but it's all right. Left ventricle. Okay. Now remember, blood dumps from the body into our right atrium from the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. And this is considered deoxygenated blood, right? It's all used up. It went through the whole body. It got used. So we're going to use blue to represent deoxygenated, right? Blood goes here. Blood goes here. All right. Now, here it is. There's a couple of other little valves here. This one right here is a pulmonary artery. Here's the thing. It's going to be really confusing a little bit right here. This pulmonary artery, you want to call it a pulmonary vein. But remember, arteries are away from the heart. And this blood right here is going to the lungs, not the heart. It's going out of the heart into the lungs. So arteries always put blood away. Veins are always blood towards. So up here is the pulmonary vein because it's bringing blood to the heart. And we're going to make it red, right? Red. Okay, now we got, this is still deoxygenated because it hasn't gone to the lungs yet. Now we got valves. What do we got? We got the tricuspid, right? I'm going to go like this. So you got to try before you buy. Tricuspid valve. The bicuspid. But mitral valve is another way. But for the sake of remembering, it's also called a bicuspid. And we always try before we buy. Tricuspid, bicuspid. All right. Now, where are murmurs happening? No? We always say murmurs are holes in the heart. They're holes. No. They're holes in the valves. Okay? There's a leak in the valve. A little hole. Blood is escaping back where it shouldn't be, where, we're trying to organize the blood into going into their own compartments. And if there's a hole, it goes back and you hear that shh. So the louder the hole, the smaller the hole, the louder the noise. Think about fluid going through a tight space. It's louder, right? The softer the noise, the bigger the hole. So keep that in mind, all right? Now we have the what? We have the atrium, because this is the left ventricle. So out of this left atrium is the aorta. I'm glad we're reviewing this. This is the semilunar valve in here, and this is the aorta valve.
Wait, I thought that was a pulmonary artery.
This is a pulmonary artery, but the valve on the back of it is a semilunar valve.
Okay. Are you going to label that, or no, we don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Semilunar. And this is pulmonary aortic valve. Okay. Now, let's say we have aortic stenosis. That means this right here is getting to clogged. Where's blood going to back into? Where is this oxygenated blood that's going down the left atrium, filling up, going through the mitral valve, and now it's going to get pumped out to this, but then it stops because what happened?
It started narrowing.
Started narrowing. So it's backing into, okay, is that going to increase blood pressure or decrease it? Oh yeah. You're going to have to make that heart pump a lot harder to get blood out to the body. Are you following me?
No. What's that thing around the
Okay, let's start over. So blood goes into the right atrium, correct?
Okay.
It goes through the tricuspid valve and goes into the right ventricle, right?
I need to do all that.
Hold on. Then it goes out of the pulmonary artery to the lungs to get oxygenated, correct?
Yes.
Comes through the pulmonary vein into the left atrium. It's getting back down to the mitral valve, going into the left ventricle, going through the aortic valve, and then being shot through the body. Because this is where all the workload is, guys. This is the moneymaker. The bicuspid? Yeah.
You call it the bicuspid valve?
Look at my eye twitch today. It can be called the mitral or the bicuspid valve. Now, here's the thing too. We talked about stenosis of the aorta, right? What if this bicuspid or mitral valve was prolapsed? Do you guys know what prolapsed means?
Yes, like collapse.
Yeah, so it kind of looks like this now. Okay, it's not really nice and flat and pretty like that. It's all going into the ventricle like that. It's all, and then whenever it closes and shunts and we're shooting out with all this force, it's going back up into the atrium too, like just a saggy piece of nothing. Okay, so whenever that happens, what's happening to the capacity in the left ventricle?
It's all getting put there.
Yeah, if there's something taking up the space, are we going to have as much capacity for blood? What about here? Is it, since it's not very effective, can blood back up into, where's it going to go?
Back into the lungs.
Back into the lungs, under worse circumstances. So, what would be the signs and symptoms of that?
They were pumping up blood.
So maybe pulmonary edema, gurgling, maybe dyspnea, maybe, we have a decrease. Remember, our body has a survival mechanism. What's its priority to oxygenate? The central. It wants to keep in our brain. Yeah. Our brain and the center part of our body is vital. So what's happening to our extremities?
Getting cold now.
Yeah, cold. They don't need no blood. We can lose a finger. It don't matter, right? We can't lose a kidney. So this is their priority. All right? So what happens, let's talk about like heart defects. Let's make this simple. What if the septum had no septum? So we had a septal defect. So what's happening here with the blood?
Skipping all that other stuff.
No, it can go down still, but you're mixing deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. So the patient doesn't ever have really oxygenated blood. This is a common defect for Down syndrome. Okay? Another common defect, which we're not going to really go into defects, we're going into just the mechanics of the heart this time. But this is a really good way to get a visual of how the heart is working and pumping. All right? And if you can figure out the blood flow, like say if I have right-sided heart failure, this side isn't pumping effectively, where is the blood going to back up to? Into the body. So what is it going to look like? What does right-sided heart failure look like on the body? Edema. What else? Jugular vein distension. Okay. Now, it's kind of yucky, but not like left-sided heart failure. Where's that backing up into? The lungs. And that's when we have crackles, pulmonary edema, which is pink, frothy sputum, and significant dyspnea. So that's emergent. That's a medical emergency. They're going to need to get rid of that fluid ASAP. All right. Any other questions about the way it flows? You'll have to take it. Look, I lost Brandy a while ago.
Oh, can you tell?
Yes. Yes. She's not visual. So it dumps in, it goes down, it goes through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, out through the lungs, into the pulmonary vein. It's now oxygenated, bright red, goes through the left atrium to the mitral valve, down to the left ventricle, through the aortic valve, and out the aorta into our body to oxygenate our body. Now, we're going to go over some things, and if you know this flow, you'll see where the fluid's blacking up to. Okay? All right.